We are live in person.
Back in person, and it feels so good.
It does.
Nothing's worse than stinking Zoom. I mean, I think of the pandemic, the global pandemic. Do you like when people say global pandemic?
As opposed to a regional pandemic?
Well,
Can it be a regional pandemic?
No, pandemic by its very nature is global.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
So anyhow, Zoom. Screw it.
I feel like people didn't even know the word pandemic. They knew what an epidemic was.
Yeah.
And I don't know that I could even define the difference between the two.
The pandemic is like, I think, a global health event. An epidemic, I think, is localized.
So they're a matter of size or geography?
So I think...
There's other demics too, right?
No disease control professional, but I do believe like there could be a hepatitis epidemic in Los Angeles, for example. But once something is a pandemic, worldwide, Mr. Worldwide.
Speaking of that, I feel awful today.
Why?
Second vaccine shot yesterday.
Oh my goodness.
It's got me down, dude.
Oh my goodness. The second one really knocks you out, man.
Did it knock you out?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
I feel like I'm strong like bull, you know? So anytime anybody says, "Oh, here's a warning," you know, I'm like, "Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll be fine."
When did you get your second?
Last night. Yesterday at like 4.
You'll be right as rain in a couple hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I slept horribly firstly. That was the worst night of sleep I've had in a very long time. So that alone will throw off my day. But I wasn't going to cancel any of my appointments today, but I was like, wished I had nothing other than laying in bed today.
Oh, yeah.
Soreness, headache. It's like a throbbing headache.
How many listeners, now that it's been revealed that we're both fully vaccinated, are going to be frustrated with like, you two sissies?
I've accepted people's frustrations week in and week out, and I do not care one iota. Yeah. It's bizarre to me that people are so adamant about how other people kind of manage their lives. Yeah. And I understand like the idea of this is for societal, for those who are pro-vax, right? They're thinking you should do this for your fellow man. Yeah. I understand that argument, but people have very legitimate arguments for getting it or for not getting it. Completely. You know? And so I don't understand why people presume that they know that other person's specific scenario. Yeah. Like me personally, and again, not to make enemies on air, but I'm not afraid of the coronavirus. I'm not afraid of the vaccine. Yeah. I generally don't get the flu vaccine. I also never get the flu. Yeah. And so, but I went to India and I got a bunch of vaccines to go to India. Sure. If I go to Central America, I get the malaria vaccine. So it's kind of specific to each individual one. But with this, my thought was, I'm going to wait and see. Yeah. Let me just wait a while. And a buddy of mine who had cancer, who was coming out of that, he hosted a dinner party. And I was the only one who wasn't vaxxed. Yeah. And a couple days after the dinner party, he called me and he's like, "Hey man, I've got a cold. Like, I feel like I've got these cold-like symptoms. Yeah. You're not vaxxed, are you?" And I said, "No." And then I felt horrible because I ran through the scenario and it turns out he didn't have COVID. Sure. And I've never had COVID because I have been tested, but I went through that thought exercise of if he actually got it, and he is a compromised immune system, so he could have bad effects from it, he could die from it, how would I feel? Exactly. And so then the risk reward of getting the vax or not was very simple. It was like, well, I would like to go to the next dinner party that we have together. And if he feels more comfortable by me having the vaccine, then I will get the vaccine. No big deal. You know, I'm not afraid of the vaccine. I'm not, you know? Yeah. Well, like
if we're going to get into it. Sure. My reason for getting it was I have 2 younger daughters and I don't want them to get it, right? Or definitely not for me and my house, forget it, a little kid getting this vaccine, right? And I understand, I guess, the argument that, but what, societally, we're supposed to do this, but when you're sacrificing young people for old people, then there's something really wrong with that scenario. All to say, don't want them to get it, so I'll take the hit and get it, right? Like, I am a toxic stew to begin with. I'll test it out on myself. I'll do it, and then we'll see. And then later in life, if they have to get it or whatever, then all fine and good. But I want to do whatever I can to make sure that they don't have to get this yet, right? Totally. Like, especially, the young one. Like, and when they're starting to push kids, I am like you. I am not robustly pro-vaccine. I am neither robustly anti-vaccine. I think that people should sort of have more choice and freedom in the whole thing, that's where the debate gets crazy for me. On both sides, is people totally taking somebody else's freedom and saying, for the pro-vax people, like, you are killing society by not getting vaxxed. Totally. The anti-vax people, you guys are all poisoning yourself and, we're poisoning society. Like, this rage back and forth is just, my kid's got some of her vaccines, she doesn't have some, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it's the ones that I think that are valuable for her, or, there's half the like the cocktail vaccines that you're supposed to give a baby is insane, which as you're becoming a father, I would recommend for you to just check it out, right? Like, see that they'll make you vaccinate your baby for things your baby will never be exposed to within at least the first. And so if you can just pump the brakes on some of those, then you could choose to get them later or not. Some, like a bunch of them that I skipped for daughter, she never needed to get them, right? Like, it's over now. That time, those dangers, she went through that just fine. She had the stinking whooping cough vaccine, got whooping cough directly from it. Like, so it's just this whatever, and how heated this whole debate is. Everybody should sit back and just say, hey, do what you want to do. Make decisions for yourself. I totally respect you as a human being to make your own decisions. Whatever decision you made is something that I don't doubt everyone has thought about it and wrestled with, and whatever vax, don't vax, whatever they've come up with, great.
Yeah. It's the rage against fellow man's ideology, imposing your ideology on them is the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem with society as a whole. This is the time we're living in. Lauren is pregnant, and there's no studies on pregnant women taking the vaccine.
Sure.
So we're at Hoag and literally have the best doctor that you would want to have a baby with at the best hospital, so we trust what she says. And she basically said, if you don't feel comfortable doing it, don't do it.
Yes.
She can't give advice. She can't tell you what to do, but she basically was winking and going, don't get it.
Yeah.
But she also said there is new studies in about pregnant women who've gotten COVID, and just recently, like the most recent this week information is that there's a lot more people getting COVID in our population, but the symptoms are much, much less severe. So a lot of people don't even know they had it. They'll just be like, oh yeah, 2 weeks ago I had a little cough. I didn't think anything of it. So the disease or the virus isn't as severe as it once was, and people are not masking anymore. So it's kind of running rampant, but at a less severe stage. However, the latest information also shows that pregnant women who get COVID have more severe symptoms.
Yeah.
So she was the doctor was like, look, don't get the vax because we don't know what it'll do to the fetus.
But be careful.
But don't get COVID.
Yeah.
And so basically, I'll go out of the house a lot more than Lauren will.
Sure.
I'll get the vaccine so that I don't bring the thing home. If she goes to the grocery store, she wears a mask, and the doc was like, the masks are effective. Sure. So just wear a mask when you go out and don't get COVID.
Great.
So I'm like, that's a very rational, critically analyzing multiple details. That's a rational response.
But imagine, I would imagine that many listeners feel rage at, and it's like, it's silly not to talk about something that's so, for me, whatever, knowing that people are going to get enraged, right? Like,
yeah,
Lauren, she has to make a decision that she feels good about. Everyone needs to make a decision they feel good about. And I don't know why everyone needs to jump on everyone's decisions so forcefully.
So, when we're putting shows together, I think about some of these topics, like Black Lives Matter at the time. And should we talk about them or not? And what I've learned over the years is, yes, we should talk about them, and we should try to have a meaningful discourse about them, because I want to normalize not raging at one another.
Yeah.
I want to normalize that these are complex societal issues. The podcast is a perfect platform to actually unpack some of the nuance. And clearly you and I aren't experts, but we could talk about our own personal experience, in a meaningful way. And people do rage. And then my follow-up thought is, whenever anybody rages, after I calm down from feeling angry about their response or whatever emotion about their response, I realize, let's talk about that again next week.
Sure.
Like, let's double down.
Yeah.
Because I've been getting rage-filled DMs from people for years on end.
Yeah.
And they still keep listening.
Yeah.
And so, and as it relates to like surf media, Nobody else is going to touch Black Lives Matter. Nobody else is going to touch vaccines.
And or they'll touch it in a way that's so pandering. So pandering.
And the easiest possible way.
I mean, the World Surf League as prime example, of course, of just virtue signal, greenwash, pander, like anything that's happening there is so artificial. And for a business, like anytime you're taking a stand for a business decision, then it's probably not a wonderful stand.
Well, I saw a meme, a little kid sewing a rainbow flag, like in a factory essentially. And it wasn't Photoshopped. It was like an actual thing. And the caption said something to the effect of like, this 8-year-old feels tremendous sense of pride about, gay LGBTQ rights as he sews this flag with his tiny hands. So the stitching is extra tight, and it's like, the companies don't give a crap, which I also completely understand.
I mean, it's all just, that's what they think they need to do to keep on the right side.
Well, just think like, all right, try not to step in, another pile here. Instagram. Yes. If you go to somebody's bio, there's a section now that you could put a pronoun or your pronouns. Yeah. So he, him, they, them, or whatever. And I thought to myself, why did they do that? Are they tremendously sympathetic to this specific cause? The answer was absolutely not. What they are is a boardroom who has shareholders, and they thought, okay, we have a young, progressive, largely demographic that uses this platform, and we want to be on the cutting edge so that news stories are written about that, so that everybody's updating that part of the profile, everybody's commenting on that part of the profile. So let's be first to market with doing this thing. Yeah. And it'll just gain all this news media attention, right? And what's embarrassing, or kind of the sad thing, is the people who are the users of the platform and the product think, oh, Instagram sees me.
And cares.
Instagram cares. Yeah. It's like, no, they do not Instagram at all. Care. Yeah. All they care about is share price.
Facebook does not care. I saw a good one. It was, who's the singer of Pink Floyd?
Roger Waters.
Roger Waters. It was, somebody sent me the video clip. Him at some meeting thing, and he pulls out, he says, I have something in my pocket here. It's an offer from Mark Zuckerberg to me to use. They want to use the wall or something from the wall as an ad campaign. And he just goes, F no. He said it's a tremendous amount of money, and F no.
Wow.
Which is, maybe for the first time ever, I thought, I wasn't really a Pink Floyd fan, but now I am.
Right. Yeah. I would love to know what that number was.
Yeah, I know. Be real good to see. I guess it was from Zuckerberg himself. But Facebook talked about it a lot. It's a monstrous corporation. It does not care about you.
At all.
It cares about mining your data and selling you off piece by piece to whoever will buy.
Totally. Completely. Proven.
Look at this. Look at how this show just took a hard turn out of the gate.
There was another great meme. I'll use it to segue into a small surf brand. There was another great meme that was like, I just ate a $25 hamburger that was delivered by a guy who will never have health insurance in his life. Our economy is running flawlessly.
Amazing.
And it's like, exactly. Who can afford a $25 hamburger? That's one type of person. And there's this huge disparity chasm between, basically an erosion of the middle class. Yep. And then the people who are gig workers who are just thinking, I got to work 5 jobs to accumulate just enough money to pay rent on a crappy apartment and be in debt the entire time.
Yep. To pay my car payment on a Toyota Tercel. Do
exactly.
They still make Tercels?
No, I don't think so.
The Tercel is sick.
We should do a list of our favorite has-been cars.
Yeah.
The Corona. Do you remember the Toyota Corona?
I totally remember the Corona. The Corona was like, I thought the Corona was like primo, wasn't it? I thought it was like Toyota's luxury version.
So my buddy, the thing is, I only knew it 10 years and 20 years later, so I don't know. My buddy had one. My best friend had one. I want to say it actually transitioned into the Corolla, maybe.
Okay. Makes sense. Corona, Corolla.
Yeah.
Crown related.
You ever think about that's a good thing there's no more Coronas. That would be damaging. You ever think about like the cars' names that fit the people who drive it?
Yes.
Like, for example, there's probably been a lot of forest rangers that drive Ford Rangers, right? Wranglers who drove Jeep Wranglers. Never has there been a celebrity who drove a Chevy Celebrity.
It's totally, I mean...
Nobody who lives in Malibu has ever driven a Chevy Malibu.
Yeah.
You know?
It's kind of sad.
Well, it's aspirational. For the car brand,
it is.
They're like trying to level up.
If I ever get to Malibu, not a huge Malibu fan, but if I ever buy property in Malibu, I'm going to be certain to buy a Chevy Malibu to go along with my new purchase.
Get a vintage one then.
Yeah, I'll get a sick one.
Speaking of new surf brands, I just got off the launch Zoom call for IPD.
Exciting days.
This is not meant to be an advertisement for them. They are not paying us to advertise. But I figure since we deliver surf news, this is news for the people. This is a brand new surf brand that's launching today.
Hit it.
It's a 40-year-old brand, if you can believe that.
Tell the people all about it. International
Pro Designs is what IPD originally stood for. They're not really using that moniker anymore. They're just using the IPD. It was founded by Bob Hurley.
I knew it.
So Bob Hurley used to make a living shaping surfboards. They were Hurley surfboards, but then he kind of changed and used the name IPD. And he ended up selling this. They didn't talk about this, but I heard this story somewhere. He ended up like somebody, after he transitioned into Billabong and then Hurley, somebody wanted to buy the trademark for IPD just because they were like, rather than letting it just go away, I'll buy that from you. He was a friend of Bob's. So he's been holding it for that long. So the people running IPD are former Hurley staffers. So Mark Simpson is, I think, the CEO or president. Bill Hurley, who's Bob's brother, runs kind of logistics, supply chain stuff. Dane Zahn, former pro surfer, longtime Hurley guy. He is marketing, VP marketing. So they've got like really a amazing team of talented, seasoned people, largely from Hurley. And product is hitting the shelf today. They're focusing on core retail. So that's kind of their thing, is things that surfers actually wear. They're all surfers. Originally, they want to they've looked at the wasteland that is I shouldn't be speaking for them in this. This is more my view, but the wasteland that has become the surf industry. And kind of what do we need? We need core brands is really what we need. Core, small, focused on supporting the retailers. And so that's what they're doing, kind of focused on the board short and the things that you would actually wear while surfing.
I like the logo. Very reminiscent of PIL.
What was PIL?
Public Image Limited.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I loved PIL.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So anyways, they just launched, they just did a press conference and announced it's launching today. So you can find it in retailers this week.
Yeah.
I'd say for our listeners, follow them on Instagram. You can find everything you need there.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So big news there.
Good on you. Good on you. Is Bob involved or no?
No.
Okay, so it's Bob's brother, etc. Bob is not involved.
Bob is not involved, other than, as I'm sure, actually I know for a fact, he's available as a consultant one phone call away.
Yeah.
And this is not part of the Kandui LLC.
Yep, that's what I was wondering. It's not part of Kandui. And Kandui is Simple Shoes
and
Florence Marine X, and that's it for Kandui so far?
So far, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they should open a media wing of the
Kandui? Sure should.
Yeah, and podcast specific, podcast focused.
Perfect. It's growth market.
How was Cabo?
Cabo was great, but the surf was not great.
You look tan.
I am tan. Yeah. That's what happens when the surf is not great. The first 2 days were surfable, and then it became unsurfable. But yeah, still, I mean, paddling out in Cabo water, which I know, you should always plan your trips around swell and all that, but man.
Past that stage in life.
Sometimes it just feels good to have something circled on the calendar and just be going.
Yeah, if you got kids, you have to.
Yeah. And so, it was great. Great.
Good.
I surfed I have a surf story.
Run into a kid and bust a fin box.
I wish. I surfed a 4.8, maybe 4.10 album foamy. It was so much fun.
Was it?
Like ridiculous amounts of fun. Yeah. Matt Parker generously loaned me one for my 8-year-old daughter and said, put her out on this. They're fun. And as it happened, we're going out with the family one day, and it's not enough surfboards, so I just said, I'll ride that one. A ridiculous amount of fun. You feel like you're skateboarding. When you're up on the wave, it's just so loose and fun. Yeah.
our talent level isn't significant enough to where we need more than that, to be perfectly honest.
No.
You know, and especially if you're surfing somewhere like, I don't know where exactly you were, but it's probably a mushy kind of beach break. That's
I was just
bouncing around.
Just out at the Rock. Have you ever surfed the Rock?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, like it's, and it wasn't big. It was like, and it wasn't really racing like it can do there. But getting up and feeling so much looser, just having no foam and this little slidey. Yeah, it made me want to go surf it a lot down here just to see.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'3", I think.
And was a 4 foot something board enough, or would you prefer to have a larger one?
Yeah, because it totally floats enough. And I got into a kink years ago where I went way too short on boards regularly, and so I'd feel fine on super short boards. But once up, and I mean, this thing's a foamy, so it paddles in no problem. And once I was up, it was just like it felt giddy. It's the first time I felt giddy surfing in a while.
It's funny. There's a mental kind of Jedi thing on your mind too. Once you're on foam, or on like soft top foam, you just have more fun.
Yeah.
You take like all the seriousness away. You don't worry about your progression. You don't worry about, it's just fun.
I was just having, you hit the nail on the head. It was a moment of pure fun. Yeah. I was the best surfer in the lineup that day.
Exactly. This relates perfectly to a listener email. He said, I was surfing in Santa Cruz at a small longboard wave, and there were so many people out, and everyone was sitting within 5 feet of one another. A couple paddles out, meaning male, female, dating couple, paddles out and sits right by me and my buddies, less than 5 feet away. They immediately start making out.
Ooh.
And he goes, this lasted for what felt like an eternity, but probably was only a couple of minutes. And so a few questions came to my mind. He was actually pitching this as a barrel or knob, but I thought it had more substance that we had to discuss.
Gravitas.
Yeah. He goes, it wasn't a romantic sunset or anything like that. And more importantly, they weren't alone. I was thinking there's so much kooky stuff going on in the lineup today, and how your guys' podcast could kind of go either way on this one. Is it super cool for not caring about what anybody else in the lineup care or thinks, or is it just super lame? And they were on a wave storm. And while they were making out, they had it sideways in the lineup. So it took up even more space in the takeoff zone and was getting in the way. I presume like maybe they got off the boards and were like holding it and kissing in the water.
I bet they had them sideways and were leaning in.
Okay, maybe.
I bet they were sidled up to each other, leaning in.
And that's basically the most of the email. What are your thoughts? Kooky or good for them?
So I'm going to say, obviously, massively kooky, and agreeing that sort of the pandemic influx of people into the water and just society sort of breaking down in general. I think the rules and what's acceptable or not, like everything is out the window, right? It feels like the lineup is now an utter free for all. So I think kooky, obviously, like that's not cool, but imagine the joy it would provide you if a wave came and you got to basically take off, and if you're on a foamy, shoot your board at their faces, or if you're not, just like blast right between them, like paddle literally right between them. I mean, that would be that they provided you with that moment. I don't know that a surf experience would ever get better than that.
That's true. There's really some right potential here.
I mean, so good. Or even, I mean, anything like a Devin Howard shoulder spray, just dunking them.
Because they are definitely beginner status. The fact that this even took place is kind of like, this is a recreational thing for them to do as a couple.
I'm gonna say too, anymore, that the era of Wavestorm being like a Jamie O'Brien doing it is over, right? Like
yes,
any Wavestorm in the lineup, and I've said this before, is open season on that Wavestorm. But I don't even think that very many, I think there's a bunch of good surfers or middle to good surfers who have a Wavestorm from when they bought a Wavestorm, and Wavestorm obviously never breaks down. And so, you know, they bought their Wavestorm 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and they still have it and will still paddle out on their Wavestorm. Any new Wavestorm in the lineup, though, I will say belongs to a full kook. Not one legitimate surfer. And maybe I'm wrong. I would love for a listener to say, nope, I'm a legit surfer and went to Costco to buy a Wavestorm.
You are wrong, because I see it still today, but I want to just agree with you.
I should be right.
Yeah, because you should be right, and we need to just mandate that as the new policy.
Where if you want a foamy, there is plenty of core surf brands building like better foamies than Wavestorm. Like, don't give Costco your money. That's the problem is it's $100 versus $400. Sure, but like dig a little deeper.
I agree.
Dig a little deeper here.
I agree, and just so you don't look like a kook in the lineup.
Yeah. It hurts to be pretty.
There's a couple of other things here going on. So making out in general, like public displays of affection.
Yep.
If he said, oh, they came out and they kissed, that wouldn't be a story.
Sure.
The makeout.
Yeah.
So for me, that's really where the problem lies is, don't create a scene where a bunch of people around you, whatever it is in your life, whether it's blasting your music at the stoplight or anything, don't create a scene that ruffles. There needs to be decorum in society.
Does it matter if they're hot or not? Like if they were
it's less offensive if they're hot.
If they were a beautiful Instagram influencer couple,
still gross, still cringy.
Yeah.
Still cringy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't want to, I guess like where my mind was trending with that is I don't want to see ugly people having sex or gross people having sex. Good looking people, I don't mind, you know, but so if this falls somewhere in there, I guess the good looking couple is less offensive to me, but it's still cringy.
But I do like though, in general, the call for decorum. Like
that's what it comes down to for me. This is like, look, there's a way of operating in this little micro culture that we are out here in this lineup. And when you come in and whether it's shouting, maybe you have one of those watches where you take a phone call and you're like shouting into all of that is wrong.
Yeah.
You just don't disrupt. Society needs rules and we need to be polite to other people.
Look at us just being so old, so ancient.
It's true, dude.
Ancient wisdom is what it is.
How was that freaking the Green Room Times meme last week that was like, after 40, this is the personality that you just adopt as your own. And there was like a mid-length, there was some New Balance shoes, foil, and then beach grit.
Yeah, yep.
And I never realized that is the demographic of beach grit.
Sure.
I just thought it skewed young for some reason, but when I thought about it, no, it's 40.
I mean, I think I will get a lot of DMs from younger people, like, which will declare themselves young. So I really don't know, but I think the most vocal, the grumpy local. But to be a grumpy local, clearly you have to be, part of being a grumpy local is to be older.
Totally.
Don't get grumpy until you get older.
Cynical.
Yeah.
The other detail, or the reason why I said that this ties into the Cabo conversation is you're married to somebody who surfs.
I am.
It's a rarity. I would say the vast majority of listeners right now have never surfed with a partner.
Yeah.
How does that work out?
I take it for granted, I suppose, but it's great. I mean, she'll even get more surf itch, like on a trip, like, okay, let's get out and go. Yeah, it's great. It's fun. I mean, especially I think we're probably at a similar skill level.
I was going to ask who would win in a comp.
Yeah, I think it'd be split. And it's great. She's goofy. So that's fun too. Like we can sit on a peak and split it. Yeah, we have good conversations in the water. Mm-hmm. I totally take it for granted, but I should not. It is great. I very much enjoy.
If you're not on vacation, if you're just at home, do you go surfing together?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I'll oftentimes, drop child off at school and then we'll both have, the random 45 minutes or hour between whatever and just rip down real quick and take a couple waves.
Good for you guys.
Fun.
Keeps the marriage, keeps the glue.
The couple that surfs together.
I dated one girl who surfed in my life. And I always avoided it, actually. I just wasn't attracted to it, I think. I don't know why. Or maybe I just didn't know that many women who surf. But I dated a girl who happened to surf, and we'd surf together sometimes. She surfed great.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yep.
We had a blast together.
Yep.
And like I saw her, I got this one, it was actually like a little bit more swell in the water, this maybe like head high. And I got this, I had more experience than she did, so I'd kind of find myself on better waves than her often, or she'd be on the inside sometimes. But this one day, when the waves were good, she found herself out the back. I got the first wave of a set, and as I was kicking out or paddling back out, she was on the next one. It was the best wave she's gotten in her life. I'm sure of it.
And you got to experience it.
I was thrilled for her.
Exactly.
When she kicked out, I was like, she wasn't acting like she was that impressed, but I was like, that was the best wave you've ever gotten in your life for sure, right? And she's like, oh yeah, maybe. I'm like, that was so sick. It made me really happy.
It is a fun part of surfing because I think if you're out surfing with friends and they get a super sick wave, I think there's a feeling of both that was cool, but also slight jealousy. If you're honest, like
totally.
I should have been on that wave. If a friend's getting
barreled.
Yeah. And you're like, when it's your significant other, I think the jealousy evaporates and it's only pure like joy at seeing somebody you love having a great experience.
Fully. I had no jealousy. I'd forgotten about my wave completely.
Yep.
And was just
and psyched. Just happy for her. Yeah.
Totally. So the final question I'll ask you about the makeout in Santa Cruz is, are these exhibitionists? I feel like these people might fall in that same category of they're on a hike and they're going to sneak off the trail and have sex in public.
To wanting to get caught.
They're getting they wouldn't be making out quietly at home on the sofa. They're getting gratification out of all the eyeballs.
Yeah, the exhibition thing is gross. I am not one for exhibiting myself, nor do I appreciate others.
You don't appreciate the voying.
I can totally understand if they thought they're like, the couple who thinks they're alone or assumes they're alone and
gets caught.
Yeah, maybe gets caught, whatever. But the couple who is purposefully putting themselves into Ketchen's way because it heightens the experience is, for me, like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, that's a thing, though. I mean, there's definitely...
exhibitionists.
Yeah.
It's a whole category of people.
Yeah. It's probably a whole category of websites, too.
Yeah.
Another somber email.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
First, hey, David, first off, I want to say congratulations on your upcoming son. Last spring, I was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma and had to return to Texas to live with my parents during treatment. The grit was a highlight, and I looked forward to getting my surf fix. The humor in it kept me from being too depressed about not knowing when or if I'd ever surf again. I trekked down to BSR today, and I hit a beginner session, first time in the water since December 2019, when I could feel my heart hitting what turned out to be a massive tumor right after I started paddling. It was very humbling to have to use a big foamy after being used to riding a grovelly shortboard, but I was just happy to be able to get up and ride again. Anyways, wanted to say how much I appreciate all of your podcasts, both you and Chaz in particular, really helped me get through the horrors of chemotherapy and overall existential dread.
That makes me so happy. Man, that makes me real happy right there.
Life affirming.
Well, good on him for getting out at the BSR, the newly rebranded surf ranch.
Right. We'll get into that too. I met this guy.
Oh.
Which I met him at the boardroom show a couple of times, so I knew like what he looked like. And I was coming back from a Baja trip, drove over the border, and then stopped at I forget which brewery it was, but a brewery down in like downtown San Diego to grab dinner. And he just randomly happened to be there.
Nice.
And one of the guys in our group that was on our trip was visiting from Slovakia.
Oh, wow.
And this guy, our listener, spoke Slovaki or Slovak, I guess is what the language is called. So he's like, where are you from? And he goes, oh, I'm from Slovakia. I'm just here visiting. And then they started chatting in full discourse. I was like, what? That's an odd language to know.
I'll tell you what, the surf world and our podcast listeners, some of the most interesting people on earth.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And my buddy, who's from Slovakia, was like blown away. Like, how I've been in America a number of times. Nobody's ever spoken my language before.
That is amazing.
And it was because our listener had a girlfriend who was from there. And so he learned the language at some point. But I was really impressed by that. And apparently he's been down and out for a year and a half and back in action.
Back in the game,
now,
back at BSR.
Which we're thrilled to see. Yeah.
Sweet.
I know.
Well, good on you. Good on you.
So BSR's rebranding, apparently.
The Surf Ranch. Isn't that weird?
So this comes from a listener as well who just visited a day or two ago and sent us a photo of a sign that they had up saying, hey, welcome to the Surf Ranch.
Yep.
So
this listener, Beach Grit Reader, goes to Surf Ranch, or Surf Ranch. Sorry. I mean, I guess it goes to Surf Ranch. Goes to BSR. He said regularly. Like this is a new sign. Oh, is he sweet?
He's very cool. His name's Bruce.
Yeah.
He's from Austin. He plays music in Austin.
Yeah.
And when I was surfing the Doug Coors pool in Austin, Inland Wave Park, he happened to be there. And we got out of the water and he's like, hey man, I listen to your podcast.
Oh, that's awesome.
I know. How funny is that?
That's totally awesome.
So Bruce was at BSR and he sent us a photo and they're not using the Surf Ranch's logo, but it says, welcome to Surf Ranch.
Welcome to the Surf Ranch.
And I presume it's because it's in Texas and they have like a kind of cowboy vibe.
Of course.
So that's what they're playing on. But are they completely unaware that there is an intellectual property out there that exists called Surf Ranch?
I mean, I can't imagine there. So I've never been to BSR. Is the wave pool itself branded differently from other things on the property?
No.
Is there anything other on the property than the pool? I thought they had like still the cable park and all that.
There's a lot of other things on the property, but no, it's not branded as different.
So it's
any more than Disneyland has different rides with different
Okay,
names.
so this is what I was wondering. If it's under new ownership, you knew that, right? BSR sold. If the ownership group is going to brand different components differently, like a ride at Disneyland, like, you got Disneyland and then you have the Matterhorn and Space Mountain and whatnot. And so if then they were going to call the tank the Surf Ranch, but then I don't understand how you don't know that a Surf Ranch exists unless the ownership group, I don't know who the ownership group is. Maybe they're completely from outside surfing. Maybe they're a water park group or whatever and are completely unaware of any other wave tank. Then
you are terrible at your job. If you didn't survey the market enough, all you have to do is Google wave pool and you will see the word surf.
Okay, but what if you just assumed that nobody would call their thing Surf Ranch? Like I'm taking
you're terrible at your job.
I'm going to say it's an honest mistake or could be an honest mistake. I'm going to say that
I agree with you.
It's a one in a long shot. If you're unaware of all the wave pool names out there and you come up with the name, let's call our wave pool the Surf Ranch. And everybody says, yeah, around the table. Who's going to go Google, wait, does a Surf Ranch exist?
You wouldn't, but you would know what the market space looks like. If you're going to invest millions of dollars into things, you know who your competitors are. You know what I mean? Like it's just tremendous oversight.
And or what I would like it to be, this is my personal hope, is that it is a straight shot across Lemore's bow of like, we see you, we know you. I dare you to tell us to cease and desist us all day. We'll take you to court and we will actually win, just like when Huntington and Santa Cruz fought over Surf City.
Wait, so maybe they actually did all of their due diligence and they found out that Surf Ranch, Kelly Slater Wave Co. actually hasn't registered that trademark of Surf Ranch.
For sure they have, I bet. But I wonder if they're thinking, I mean, there's no way the WSL with its phalanx of lawyers, I think that's the one thing they do have is a few lawyers, are not going to they've been pumping the Surf Ranch name for years. They brand it. It has its own logo.
Which scenario is more unlikely though? I mean, they're both crazy scenarios.
Well, I mean, I would love for Waco to head to court against Lemore and just say, look, they have dairies. That should be called Surf Dairy. We are Surf Ranch.
Not relevant in court.
I mean, Surf City, how did Huntington Beach and Santa Cruz come to actually sock it out? It would have been first usage and stuff. So maybe what if?
Oh, I see where you're going.
BSR, that wave part was called Surf Ranch, or a part of that was called Surf Ranch before. And so they have principle of first mention somewhere where they can dust off and say, boom, got it right here.
What if KS Wave Co. ripped them off originally?
Yes. Yep.
And just went hard at it.
Yep. And they went hard at it. And then these guys have just been sitting back. New ownership finds the original paperwork for the patent filed on the Surf Ranch.
All of these things are possible. Here's what I'm going to guess.
Yes.
That if I had to bet money on it, I would say BSR, whoever bought BSR, they're oil. It's Texas. They're oil tycoons.
Yeah.
And this is just a play. This is like a little playground that they're buying. The investment, albeit millions of dollars, is insignificant to them. And they're just like high rolling. They go, let's just call this thing Surf Ranch. Who gives a crap?
Yeah.
They didn't do the due diligence. They didn't do anything. They'll get the cease and desist next week or this week.
I mean, I really hastened the cease and desist for them. How long would it have taken without putting it on Beach Grit or talking about it here? How long would it have taken for the World Surf League to figure out that the BSR tank is branding itself as the Surf Ranch?
1 month.
Yeah.
Enough pros go there that somebody will shoot Kelly a text. Yeah. But I would say they get that cease and desist tomorrow.
If though, it's not very probable scenario, but let's just game it out here. If there was a massive civil war between Waco and Lemoore, the blue versus the gray, who would you fight for? Would you fight for Waco or would you fight for Lemoore?
What are we fighting for? It's like to be able to surf that, like which wave pool tech wins out?
Or let's say which whole experience is better? Which one you want to actually be called Surf Ranch? Like, you got to go to ARMS here. Who do you go to ARMS for, the Lemoore facility or for the Waco facility?
Well, my instinct is Waco.
Sure.
Because I have had more fun there. It's more like democratic, let's say.
I can't wait to go surf Waco, to be honest.
You don't have to wait. You can go surf one in Palm Springs shortly.
I mean, yeah, I guess so.
And I guess you do have to wait for that.
Yeah.
You in fact do have to wait, whereas you don't have to wait if you want to go to Texas tomorrow. But if we're going to go to ARMS, and that means like there's only a few men left standing.
Yeah,
I'd rather go to ARMS for Lemoore and be able to surf that by myself. The thing is, there's no scenario where I end up surfing that by myself.
Do you think they would win the fight though?
They're more moneyed.
Are you sure? We don't even know who the new ownership of BSR is. If your oil tycoon scenario is right, then for sure.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
But I kind of talk about we have talked about over the years, the KS Waveco business model not being as viable in the marketplace once everything goes live.
Did you read Derek's news story?
No.
I mean, Derek, or last week, wrote a story about basically, look at this thing is what has happened. The pros hate surfing it. They pull out en masse from the event. People don't watch it. People hate watching it. I don't think ground has been broken on another one.
So yes, agreed with all that. However, they are renting that thing out.
Oh yeah, people want to go surf it.
$55K a day.
People want to go surf it
every day.
Yep.
That thing is fully booked all the time at $55K a day.
Yep.
So is Waco generating $55K a day and selling 1 hour, 1 hour rides for $100?
Is it?
I don't know.
I mean, you've seen it? How many guys get in and out of the water there?
I think there's 12 in the water at a time.
Per hour? Per 100?
I think they're 30-minute sessions actually.
For $100?
I could run the numbers. No, there's different tiers. So,
because they have a bunch of beginners on the inside, right?
No.
Oh,
that's the other. That was Enlin.
Okay.
They have like a intermediate set or a beginner setting, an intermediate setting, a pro setting.
So you only have 12 people in the water at any time of different skill level, but imagine they're selling lessons too, right?
Probably, yeah.
And so that's another upcharge.
And then private sessions, which are $2,500.
Exactly.
For an hour. So I could go on their website and figure it out pretty quickly, but I don't think it comes close to $55,000.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think so?
No.
You sure?
No, not at all. I'd have to actually run the numbers. But again, in terms of just what exists currently, KS Waveco could be winning the actual business war.
Also though, do they have a refreshment stand at Waco?
Yeah.
So you're churning
hotels.
French fries. Mm-hmm. The Slater gets none of that. There's no ancillary.
I think for the 55, you get lunch and breakfast.
Sure,
and
exactly.
All that sort of stuff.
But, and I suppose if Kelly put up if you could rent one of the Airstreams or whatever, and he put a couple restaurants and a bar and whatever, but still,
yeah,
I'm going to say Waco's making more money.
Yeah. Could be. It's interesting.
How's the hotel?
It's more like a bed and breakfast. There's, I think, when I was there, it was years ago, but there was like 6 rooms overlooking the pool, and they were just basic hotel rooms, essentially. It's run by them. It's not as if, Hilton put up a hotel there or anything. So do we talk about Surf Ranch at all, considering that event starts tomorrow?
It does, but let's not.
Let's not talk about it at all.
I mean, what is there to say? Like, I think there's the new rumor today that I just published that yet another top 5 pro hates the thing so bad that he or she gave up practice waves, was not about to go a day early, hates the thought of it so profoundly that it causes him or her dread.
Yeah.
And I think that's a general...
Well, for sure it is. Yeah.
Especially in a heat wave, the heat wave is the story, right? And WSL trying...
What's the heat index going to be?
I don't know. I mean, I think the temperature is supposed to be 111, but I don't think... Yeah, that doesn't account for how hot it actually feels. So it'll be scorching. Are they allowing spectators or no?
I don't think so.
So it's just surfers. So I guess all the surfers just stay in the shade and whatever. Like the thing is it's weird that it's taken on, I feel, this aura of just disgust. Because if you really stand back and look at it, it's a big deal, right? Like it's not fun to watch as a competitive thing. But yeah, like the amount of hatred for it.
Yeah, because
I feel it's
undermining the entire business. Yeah. That's the problem.
But it is the entire business.
That's the other problem.
Yeah.
Is the original and always should be focus of professional surfing is to put the best surfers in the best waves in the world, right? And this is the polar opposite of that. And so we understood, I actually didn't even understand the WSL buying it. If they just bought it but didn't put it on tour, if they just bought it and then licensed it out around the world, that's a side revenue. But in order to really best showcase it, they thought, let's put it on tour. Well, that step alone undermines the original stated goal of putting the best surfers in the best waves in the world. The magic secret sauce of putting the best surfers in the best waves in the world is drama.
Yeah.
There is this central tenet of man versus nature that you do not get out of any other sport at all. And that is the sauce that you should always be trying to bottle. And this falls nowhere near that, And so I looked at the heat draw for tomorrow and it was unbelievably tedious.
Yeah.
It was more tedious than I was doing accounting the previous day and fine-tooth combing expenses from 2020. That was more exciting to me. And so I just looked at it and I go, do I want to sit and watch with 5-minute lulls in between waves, any of this?
Dude,
the answer is absolutely not.
Was there any heat that...
No, because there's no heats.
Yeah.
There's no person versus person. I mean, they structure it in such a way that they'll take scores from this person to match against that person, but there's no drama, period.
No, just a guy taking
and it's so predictable. And the other thing that blows my mind is... Answer me this one question. Will Kelly Slater get a 10?
No.
Like, not a 1% chance of him getting a 10?
No.
Of course not, right? Will Wade Carmichael?
No.
No. I can go down the list of 18 or 22 even of the top, more than that, 25. None of them are liable to get a 10. Most of them aren't even, they don't have possibility of even getting an 8.5. So what are we doing?
I mean, the problem is the judges there's never been a 10 given there, right?
I think there has been.
Really?
Yeah. I think Gabriel's gotten them.
Did Philippe get one for his triple air?
I don't remember, but those guys, so you could make an argument that those guys could get a 10. So now there's excitement. Now I'm interested. I'm going to watch their waves. Because I'm going to, but the point is, if we are putting everything towards a pointy end of this season where there needs to be people vying it out for one another, and you tell me right off the bat that 90% of the surfers don't have any shot at winning the event, at getting into the top 5, and now not even getting a 10, you know what? Not even getting a 9 or an 8.5. What are we doing with all of these people? There's no interest here. Well, and there's no drama.
And half of them are staying home too. I mean, there's so many.
Because they've
Yeah.
Like it's completely insane. And so Michel Perez posted an Instagram with a wave of him surfing 2 years ago. He's out with neck injury. And so his caption was saying that he's not going to be surfing in the event, but he also said it is the most stressful event on tour by far.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, if the most stress that the competitor is feeling isn't about going over the ledge at Chopu, sure that you feel stress at Pipeline, but that's because of that central tenet that I always talk about of man versus nature. If what he's talking about is not that, he's talking about the stress of I'm a gymnast who needs to tick every box. Yeah. Now that becomes robotic, and it's the exact opposite of that drama that should be the center of the business.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So to put the thing on tour is a huge misstep.
If they were going to bottle, if they were going to take some of that stress though and showcase some of that stress, like really ramp up the stress on the surfers, that could be like to breaking point, could become some compelling viewing. But yeah,
it could be. But I'll tell you what, the stress that Seth Moniz is going to feel, is midway down the ride, the wave, realizing he's done 8 safety turns and now he needs to blow the fins out. So he's going to push it harder than he did previously, and he's going to fall mid-wave.
Yeah.
And then I go, okay, well, I watched 80 seconds of him up on a wave that is going to net a 4-point ride.
Yeah.
And now I got to wait 5 more minutes for somebody else who's feeling the same stress. Just show me the top 5 guys that have a chance at doing something.
Yeah.
That have a chance at changing on the rankings and at a chance of getting a 10.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane. And we've all gotten to a point, they've given us this slow exposure to it, to where we're all now sitting in this consensual whatever, like going, oh yeah, well, it is fun to surf. Oh, well, it is. I could see it. Maybe I'll watch some of the highlights or whatever. And it's like, no, the fact that we're even having this discussion, no, full stop. No, I'll see you guys at Barra.
Yeah.
Let's go. And then Tahiti, you know, like, I don't even want to engage in the conversation anymore. It's crazy.
Boring.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good rant.
Sorry, dude.
No.
I was upset. I'm upset that I have to spend.
Yeah, it's true.
This is a larger thought. Playing off of last week's rant about legacy surf media willfully ignoring like the masses.
Yes.
The minority has become the majority and they're just like, oh, look this way. Yeah. Actually, I'm angry at you guys, so I'm going to turn my back this way. Right. The BSR cable park conversation calling it surf ranch. If it is a lack of due diligence, if they simply didn't know that was protected IP out there, presumably, it's par for the course with the surf industry.
Sure.
Like, this is the way the surf industry runs.
Doesn't know, doesn't care to look.
Doesn't care to look. Yeah. Like, we'll give it a half-assed effort at 10:30 after we're done surfing.
Yes.
Like that, and then like that is what it is, and that's been the hugest hiccup in growth.
But the problem is that's not WSL is different from that, I think, because they're not surfers. So it's not a half-assed effort after. WSL lives in a passive-aggressive. I think they are so angry. I think Dirk Ziff truly and genuinely is so angry at his core fan base on down the line, right? I think they'll put on a nice face about it. Like Prodan will respond to a text or whatever. But I think there's real anger all the way through the ranks of how they feel they've been aggrieved. Like when on Prodan's podcast, when they threw Stab under the bus for the talking negative, clearly they were not meaning Stab, right? They just weren't about to mention beach grit. They did not want to say the words beach grit. I think there's that much, when you have that much passive aggressive anger, when they call something Stab just so they don't have to say beach grit, there's a real problem of the amount of anger. And so they're purposefully going to never look at the core. They're rage filled,
which I think is a huge business misstep.
Sure. Of course it is. It's the dictionary definition of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
100%. And especially when, again, you and I are having these conversations with listeners in the DMs all day, every day, and emails and all that sort of stuff. And so I've seen that tide turn where what used to be, they could ignore it 5 years ago, 10 years ago, because that was the minority.
Yeah.
These are just the grumpy locals being angry at everything. Well, turns out this group of people, which I've been a part of to a certain degree, has all these insights.
Yep.
And you're actually taking those insights and changing your business decisions. You're utilizing all of the feedback that's coming from this community that you're angry at, using them in your business, but then completely not engaging and acting like you're angry and acting like you want nothing to do with them and never mention.
I mean, that's the problem is they don't like the anger. The anger level is such where they won't give, at least me, the honor of that they're angry.
Yeah.
And so I'll just get like very passive silence, which is it's just the silliest kind. But I mean, directly to your point, brand new show coming out.
So this news broke yesterday. I didn't even see it on the WSL's website, but there is a press release out there. I think Variety.
Okay.
Was it Variety?
I was going to post it yesterday, but was waiting for today after we got to talk about it.
Okay. WSL's got 2 new shows in the works. I'll have to just pull it up and look because I forget. But one of them is called Surfing with Celebrities.
Ooh.
Literally, the project is Surfing with Celebrities. Yeah, it was Variety, which will follow stars shredding the Nar. They spelled Nar N-A-R.
N-A-R?
Yeah.
Is that Variety or is
Variety.
That? Okay. Yeah. That's okay for Variety to spell it that way.
Still.
So WSL.
They're shredding the Nar, WSL state-of-the-art surf ranch in Lemoore. The series will be hosted and executive produced by the DJ and songwriter Diplo, who obviously surfs.
I can't believe they're doing it at Surf Ranch again.
So this is,
they are, but
again, maybe these ideas are in the ether. Maybe they thought of this idea before. I have a YouTube video of us discussing at Album Surfboards 10 months ago. The name of the YouTube video at that time was, "We are the R&D lab for the WSL." And it was talking about, you know what? They invested in Surf Ranch. We don't want to see it on tour, but how can they use it? Or how could they get the same value out of it? Like, how can they use it as a commercial to sell these $55,000 daily kind of events or renting it out? Without running a tour there, they could still invite celebrities to come surf it. They should get Jonah Hill. One of us said Jonah Hill specifically, and we went through a list of celebrities who surf.
And that's what we wanted to see too, surfing with celebrities.
Yeah, because then we thought, wow, that'd actually be really rad to see Jonah Hill go from being the beginner that he is, with Kelly Slater coaching him, to getting barreled by the end of the day. That's actually engaging.
Yep.
The very next week, they were doing something with Jonah Hill.
Yeah.
Or I think it was 2 weeks later, they were doing something with Jonah Hill. So we talked about that concept of surfing with celebrities. Well, now there's a new show in the works, Surfing with Celebrities. The other one is a Michael Phelps show.
What's he doing? I didn't read that one.
Yeah, I actually don't have that pulled up on my phone at the moment.
Surfing with Celebs. I mean, it's totally funny that, again, it could have been, it's not a groundbreaking concept, but the 10-month window.
It's just enough time to line up the ducks.
I mean, precisely to hear it, that they go, oh yeah, we should think about doing this.
Yeah.
For sure. That one is too uncanny, I'm going to say.
So that willful kind of ignorance of what's happening, what is now the majority of conversation that's taking place, and just completely ignoring it, pilfering ideas, and then brand coming out over here with no acknowledgement is really, it's a misstep.
It's the same exact thing. Again, it's the dictionary definition of cutting off nose to spite face. It's also the metaphor, the perfect representation is Jack Robinson surfing the box, where something is happening right to your right.
Mm-hmm. Literally.
And you're not
in your periphery.
In your refusal to mention it, which I wonder how this ends for the WSL. I don't know how they got stuck in this business model. I don't know even what business model it follows. Like, I feel like in the NFL and stuff, if something is happening peripherally, like Colin Kaepernick, right? Of course, he never got put on a team, but they would address the Colin Kaepernick issue. They didn't, WSL, if they were in charge of the NFL, would have pretended Colin Kaepernick did not exist as a human being, right?
Yeah.
There would have been no mention, he's, in the periphery. I feel even NFL, which is the worst, has the worst reputation as major sporting governing body. Maybe soccer, whatever the European Soccer League has. But I feel everybody is smart enough to know when things are directly in their periphery that they look stupid, not referencing. WSL's willful stupidity to not mention anything outside of their direct. I just don't know what that business model is. I don't know how
that's the problem, is they don't either at this point.
If they do one thing, all of what they do is fairly willy-nilly. This is one thing they do consistently. Maybe the only thing they do consistently
that's a culture, brand culture issue.
Do not mention anything. I mean, I guess it's wall of positive noise.
Right.
Nothing negative. Nothing negative gets inside.
So you have to have a plan in place, like a PR plan in place for how to leverage that negativity for your own.
Sure.
And be able to engage that group of people.
Ain't that hard. It's called having a conversation. It's called opening up and saying, oh, we see you. We see you exist. We hear you. We don't always agree with you and or never agree with you, but hey, guess what? For the first time ever, we turned our heads and looked at you.
I'll tell you exactly why they won't engage direct from inside. I don't want to say it on air but I'll tell you off air, and it's so wrong-headed that I could not believe it.
Yeah.
It was just like, really, that is your stance.
Yeah.
That is just doubling down on a bad bet.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and here's the point I would love to see it get to. I know I feel we blab about this way too much, but like, I don't know necessarily that the grumpy local core, what we refer to as that is bigger than the WSL, but I'd love for everyone to let's see what you got.
I agree. It doesn't matter if it's bigger or not. The Grumpy Local core understands that central tenet that I talked about.
Sure.
And they understand that that is what the WSL should always be aiming for. And they've stopped aiming at that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And so they keep introducing, oh, here's a Billy documentary. Here's a new show that's coming out over here. And it's like, we don't care like that. None of that. You should be putting all of your efforts and resources towards this one thing. Go ahead.
I'll be very, 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 there'll be no way to know accurately, but I'll be very curious as to how many people watch Surf Ranch this time. Like the numbers on that will be telling.
I forget what the article was, but Eric Logan did an interview with somebody 2 weeks ago, and he said that the number of viewers for a CT event is 10 million.
Yeah.
And I scoffed at that when I was talking to Scott Bass. I was like, there's no way.
Yeah.
And so then somebody who will remain nameless, but who has information, who has those exact numbers, screenshotted and sent me everything.
And it was 10 million.
No, it was like, I didn't even add it all up, but it was like, we get this amount from over here, this amount from over here.
I'm sure
it maybe amounted to 1 million.
So, I mean, because clearly what they're doing, or what Eric was doing, was counting impressions. Like, so counting any person. Yeah. And I think that's like, so any person who has it on Instagram, and then we're also going to count the 4 friends
that are in the room
that he showed his phone to.
Pass along,
like, right? Yeah, allegedly.
And then, you know how often the feed bogs out and then refreshes?
Yeah.
All the time.
And that counts.
And so once you refresh it, boom, there's a new impression.
A new impression, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like 10 million, there's no way.
I mean, there's no way, like, flat out. It does not stand to any sort of reason.
Yeah.
But I'll be real, I think we'll get a good gauge at how many people are watching just based on Beach Grit's comment live thing. Because I think the Beach Grit consumer, sorry, Beach Grit. Beach Grit family loves to get in there and just chat. They, it's fun, and that's part of it. It's not all about the wave, but I wonder if it's not about the wave or the heat or anything necessarily. With Surf Ranch, I wonder if it's so odious that our comment live numbers, if our comment live numbers are down significantly, then it means nobody's watching it.
That'll be a real easy analysis to run.
Oh, it'll be straight. I mean,
what are the comments from? Yeah. Tell me the quick story before we go to commercial break about surf coach drug dealers in Bali.
Ooh, record clip, I guess. They're flipping. Bali's shut down because of, or has been, fairly viciously, I think, shut down due pandemic. I think there was nothing, right? No tourists coming in, nothing happening. So then people who are on Bali in the tourist sector are more and more turning to the drug trade to get by, including surf coaches.
What's the drug of choice in Bali?
I think, they were specifically talking about weed in this one, marijuana. And so I think I have no idea what the drug of choice is there, but I think the article was about the uptick in marijuana sales. Are they a real strict culture and government about drugs? So you'll like go to jail. And didn't you ever watch the stinking whatever palace?
Yeah, but that was a long time ago.
Sure. I think they still are. I think it's severe.
Broke Down Palace?
Yeah. I think it's severe penalty.
Was that Bali or Thailand?
Might have been Thailand.
Sri Lanka. I don't know. It's been a long time.
Island Paradise.
So that story turns out Sea of Darkness.
Oh yeah.
Which is a documentary that people have asked about for years.
Is the full Sea of Darkness on YouTube? Yeah. I was gonna post the full link, but then I thought,
oh, you didn't?
I didn't post. I just posted the trailer.
Oh,
no,
okay.
It's there though. I mean,
Somebody uploaded it. So listeners sent it to me a week or two ago. Like, hey, I've been searching for this for years. Which I already have a digital copy of it from, I don't know a listener sent it in a long time ago, but so I had already seen it. But for anybody who's been waiting for that for a decade or two,
who knows how long it'll be there, but it's there now.
It'll get taken down.
And it's an easy Google. I mean, just YouTube Sea of Darkness.
And it pops up.
And it's right there.
So do you want to give listeners an explanation of what Sea of Darkness is?
I mean, Sea of Darkness
they should watch?
Is a phenomenal documentary on sort of, I'd call it the genesis of the surf industry, kind of, more or less.
Of a lot of the big brands that thrived through the boom.
Yep. And so, the sort of the early stories of the fascinating cast of characters from Jeff Chitty to, I don't know, who is your favorite of the characters?
I don't even remember.
Phenomenal characters, interesting story about basically surfers in Bali originally, who then moved out and founded the G-Land Surf Camp, and then sort of split after that, half going legit and starting brands, and half going into the drug trade side. Very interesting.
Those separate groups?
I think so. I mean, I think they were all together at once, and then I think the way the narrative goes is a bunch of them went and flew right, and a bunch didn't, and then the bunch who didn't got locked up in jail and all that. Martin Daly's in there.
Bob McKnight, I feel like, is in there. Yeah.
Martin Daly's, I think, actually owns the rights to the movie, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what my next question was going to be, because the reason why that movie has never seen the light of day was it was such a controversial, the implications of that were controversial. There's an implication of kind of drug money being used as seed money to start some of these brands. And people didn't want that going public. So somebody bought the rights and shelved the film.
I think there was also, there was some kind of rights confusion between Michael Oblowitz, the director, and Martin Daly. And yeah, I think it's one of those things, one of those creative projects that got mired in rights issues.
I could see Michael finding himself in a miscommunication.
A miscommunication, a misunderstanding.
He doesn't seem like the most thorough communicator that I've ever met. Do you like his work?
I love it.
I don't.
Really?
Oh, I mean, I love that he's tackling these issues that nobody else wants to touch. But as a aesthetically, they're a hodgepodge. They're such a nightmare.
That's what I like about it. I think I like that he has a distinct au revoir. I don't know what the right word is. Yeah, he has a distinct feel
I see
with his film. That now I see it. I see a trailer, and I know, like, even hearing when I put the trailer for Sea of Darkness on Beach Grit, even hearing that music again and seeing the way it's shot, the way he frames stuff, how he tells story, I really, really genuinely like.
I think the narrative, I agree with you. The narrative is great. And certainly certain framings of shots and stuff like that is good. I think it falls apart in editing.
I like the whole thing. I love whatever he's doing in editing. It's not what one would say is like probably traditional or polished, but I think it's all very intentional. I think he is intentionally making these movies.
Chaos. He's intentionally making chaos.
Sure.
I feel like they're over edited and over graphicked and over like audio kind of cues and stings and like.
Are you gonna line up for the Sunny movie?
Yeah, I will.
Yeah,
totally. I'll interview him for it.
Yeah, perfect.
Should we go to commercial break?
Let's do it.
Hey, Chaz, I think we should talk about Athletic Greens today. It's been too long.
It's been burning a hole in my heart not being able to talk about it. I walk around like somebody not being able to talk about not cleaning their cast iron skillet. I just am bubbling forth wanting to talk about Athletic Greens, and I can't.
What a hipster, dude.
Nobody asked me a question. Nobody said, when was the last time you cleaned your cast iron skillet? No. I clean my cast iron skillet all the time, by the way.
I've looked into it, and it's totally fine to clean. Yeah. There's two things you want to avoid. Rust.
Yeah.
So like it's porous and it's hard to dry all the water out, and then it will rust, and you don't want to eat rust.
Yep.
And what's the other thing? I forget what the other thing is that you want to avoid with it, but I've found workarounds for both those things.
I wash mine on purpose just to wash it. I don't do it all the time. Like I'll cook, 5 or 6 meals, but sometimes I'll just see it sitting there and just wash it to spite people who don't wash their cast iron skillets.
Well, it's filthy if you don't. Like the idea of meat rotting in those cracks and crevices is disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't mind oil saturating it in there, but there is some meat residue if you don't properly clean it.
You know what I like? Soaking into my pores? Athletic Greens.
Well, you said you had a hole in your heart.
Fissures in my guts.
I would say that hole in the heart that you're feeling from not discussing it would never happen if you're actually ingesting Athletic Greens. It'll patch it over.
I mean, I feel it is. That's how I've gotten by. That's how I've gotten by without head popping off. You know what I did to Mexico? Took Athletic Greens.
Me too. So that's what listeners should know is if they sign up for that monthly subscription, you get a big pouch that you can keep at home in that little ceramic bowl thing and just scoop it out of there. But they also give you individual packs that I keep a box of those individual packs at work. I keep some in my briefcase. I've got them with me all the time.
It's again,
you have to.
I hate to talk about it so much, but cannot say enough about Athletic Greens.
athleticgreens.com/surf.
And what do they get? What do they get when
free vitamin D for a year?
I read on there a drop. So I put a drop in. Are you supposed to do a whole dropper or just a drop?
I do 3 drops.
3 drip, 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 not 3 squirt, squirt, squirt. Okay.
It's not a whole dropper. You'll get diarrhea probably.
Okay, great.
And it does say 1 drop. That is what's advised.
Okay.
But I don't feel like that's enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. It probably is because they advised it, but I just feel like I'll give myself 3. Life. Why not?
Yeah.
You know?
Athletic greens. It's
the best.
I'll tell you right now too. The first time I tried it, I thought, tastes weird. I'll do it because I know it's healthy. Now I crave the taste of athletic, like that first sip in the morning.
Me too.
Yep.
Me too.
Makes me dance.
The other thing is not a nary word has been said. Is that the right phrase? Not a negative word has been nary a negative word. Nary a negative word has been said from any of our listeners, of which there are many who have subscribed. I still get messages every week. Every single one of them is like, dude, I'm feeling better. My brain's firing and I'm more regular than I've ever been.
I defy a listener to get athletic greens and like see. I mean,
and share negative feedback.
It would be impossible. It would be impossible to have anything negative to say about it.
There's no other product that solves all of your problems in life, like athleticgreens.com/surf.
Best whatever you'll ever spend.
Agreed. All right, Chaz, we're back.
Good.
I had some other notes, but I think maybe we can keep them all for next week.
Great.
We're giving away that Too Happy from Channel Islands. That's worth mentioning.
I mean, that's exciting. That's worth subscribing for right there.
Totally. Support our work by setting up a subscription, and we're giving away a Channel Islands Too Happy. Man, where else are you going to... Right now, you can't get a surfboard even if you tried.
Nope.
And we're giving them away willy-nilly.
Free, just flinging them out the door.
Giving them away, mostly just nilly.
Yeah.
Not so much willy, but a lot of nilly. Doubling down on the nilly.
Sweet, nilly.
Barrel or nah? Pronouncing croissant.
Ooh, good one.
Thank you.
I want to go get my coffee this morning, and I would love to get a croissant. No, it's a full no barrel unless you're a French speaker. If you speak French as I'll even give it to you had. I'm gonna put a minimum here. If you've had 3 years of French, of formal French education, you are then allowed to say croissant, but I would also prefer if you said every other French word that falls into the English language, which with your French inflection.
I don't think that's acceptable if you've had 3 years of French. I think if you lived in France for 3 years, I'll give it to you.
Really?
If you just took French in high school and now you're like the French expert who has to, then that's obnoxious.
It sure is, but that's what I'm saying, the minimum. That's not good, but I'll say the maximum bad is the person who did 6 months study abroad in France and then came back and said croissant.
And they go out of their way to say it too. That's the type of person that says it goes out of their way to say it.
What about the person, I'm going to tag one on here, who insists on calling it a pain au chocolat instead of a chocolate croissant?
Right. Agreed. Same thing.
Because truthfully though, that's not a croissant, right? It is a pain au chocolat, chocolate bread. But it's in our...
But they make them in a croissant fashion, like the flaky...
Nope. I hear you. I mean, I'd say if you got to say chocolate croissant.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Even
though it's not.
Fully agree with that.
No pain au chocolat for you.
I give exemption to any native speakers.
Native speakers. I'm going to say 3 years too.
And this goes for French. This goes for any language.
Does it go for French Canadians?
If you're a native speaker.
Yeah.
But I feel this way, like, with all languages, somebody will be like in a full English, like cadence of speech. And then they'll say hit the tortilla with an inflection, or hit the tamale with an inflection or whatever. And if you're a native speaker, that's fine. You grew up in the house. That's what you guys call it. And that's actually the proper name.
Sure. But understandable.
But my point is it throws off the cadence of the thing. And then I find myself running a calculus in my head of like,
what's your relationship?
And also, what are you trying to prove to me? You trying to prove to me that you went to France once or that you had 3 years in high school? Now this dynamic's all weird. Why don't you just be normal? Why don't you just say it? We're speaking English, right? And you're speaking English and every other word you used was English.
Say croissant.
The English word is croissant.
Yeah. Great. No barrel.
I'm so annoyed by it.
No barrel.
I know. Yeah. When I start having to run that additional calculus and my wheels are spinning and smoke starts coming, then I'm angry.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, why am I working so much harder in this conversation than you are? And you're just posing.
We were just talking about the Quran. Why couldn't you just say Quran? Just say Quran.
Right.
Call it the Quran.
Exactly. Barrel or nah, using a Ouija board.
Have you ever used a Ouija board? I never have either. I've never used a Ouija board, and I still have some residual, you're playing with something that you don't understand that goes along with it. I have never done a Ouija board, and I don't plan on playing with a Ouija board anytime soon.
I would not do it.
Yeah. How did a Ouija board, it's made by Hasbro or something, right? It's made by whatever, a mainline American game manufacturer. How did it get imbued with satanic juice?
So they bought it. I mean, that was an acquisition at some point. But yes, the spirit that is infused through the Ouija board continued its
with
poltergeist through business transactions, like through acquisitions and and then also through factories. I mean, those things are probably being made in a lot of different factories in the world. How does the spirit stay imbued through all of the chain of distribution?
It's got to be a heavy spirit. It's got to be.
And who is the spirit? I mean, are they all of them together?
I think a bunch of Satan's little minions are involved in the Ouija game.
Satan invested heavily in
the Ouija. Yeah.
Like that was an investment that he was like,
I'm not letting this one go.
No.
Where if Satan's
all of my minion are going to.
If Satan's not letting it go, I want nothing to do with it.
Agreed. Yeah. I know. So I am not superstitious really, but this is one thing that I just look at and I go, you know what? I don't need a place. There's no place in my life for this.
What if Lauren brought a Ouija board home and said, hey, we're going to use this to really suss out the name of our son?
Dude, we'd have a real come to Jesus moment. Literally.
Lucifer scales.
Beelzebub scales. Oh my gosh. Yeah. No, she would never. And I would really question all of my decision making up until this point. I'd be like, how did I find myself here now? How did I get here?
I'm looking forward to listener feedback on the Ouija issue.
Let's hear
the creepy stories.
Feedback about the Ouija board.
What are the craziest stories? Yeah.
When I was growing up, there was always the story of like, we had a ghost talk to us, so we threw it away. We ripped it up and then threw it in the trash can. In the morning, it was back in my closet in the box, not ripped up. Yeah. That was a classic.
Scary Ouija stories. Totally. No barrel for this house.
Definitely no barrel. Oof. But you're not superstitious either.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, but I'm religious, I suppose. But I don't know why that I should feel...
from a game.
From a game that's made by...
Hasbro.
Parker Brothers. Whichever one it is. It's the major company. It's I think same one that makes stinking Monopoly. Play Monopoly all day.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that.
It takes all day to play Monopoly. Yeah. It's really wild. I want to hear some listener stories.
Yeah.
That reminded me because we talked about tarot card readers last week.
Yes.
Kevin Miller.
Setting us up.
Pitched a trip to a town in Florida. Do you remember the name of the town?
No. I don't know. It's a tarot specialty. Tarot's on the menu there.
Starts with a C. I should really just look it up. Casadaga.
Oh, Casadaga sounds satanic. It
does.
Even in its very verbiage.
That's an epicenter of Ouija board sales.
For sure.
Casadaga, which has all sorts of weird stuff going on in it. If Florida is already weird, and then they have a city that is the weirdest among Florida, you got to watch out.
Ooh, man.
But he's saying we should do a trip out there and do our tarot card reading there in that kind of nexus of the universe. Okay. And they, by the way, are hosting their Florida Surf Film Festival. It's reconvening this weekend on Father's Day.
Already sold out, I think, is what I heard. Amazing that they can, good on them. Bringing it back and you sell out right away.
We got invites.
Yeah.
We couldn't make it for reasons. We had other obligations, but they're premiering or screening anyways, Girls Can't Surf. Mm-hmm. They're screening the Andy Irons and the Radicals documentary. And I forget a bunch of shorter films as well, but I think those are the two main films for the two main nights. And that Florida Surf Film Festival is amazing. It's the best in class as far as I'm concerned. And they had to go on hold through all of COVID. So they're reconvening this weekend.
Exciting.
Florida.
Good on them.
Barrel or not. Remember I asked about using the phrase suck a dick?
Oh, yeah.
We had a long barrel or not about that. Somebody else submitted another one. Telling someone you hate their guts. It's a bizarre concept.
But I like it.
It'd be one thing, I hate your brain.
Yeah.
I hate your heart.
I hate your guts. But it goes back to...
I hate your guts.
It goes back to when I was in Papua New Guinea. The soul was located in the guts for them.
I learned about this.
Yeah. So there's like the fact that we have heart and mind, etc. distinction is only a Western conceit. Like, so I hate your guts could mean I hate you to the very core, your soul, right? Depending on where it came from.
So
depending on the
etymology. From Papua New Guinea?
Could have come from Papua New Guinea. I hate your guts.
An American has adopted Papua New Guinea's phrasing.
Yep. Pigeon.
That makes sense. I didn't think about that angle. I just thought the guts are kind of the most nebulous thing in your body. Like, there are things that have medical, a liver. It's a name of a specific organ that does a certain thing. Your guts is just this mass of, I think the intestines are the main part of the guts, but it probably has other stuff.
Sure.
What are guts comprised of? Yeah, exactly. So it's such a vague, nebulous thing to hate in somebody.
I feel the guts are everything below the lungs and heart is guts. Yeah. Torso and above the private parts.
Are you offended if somebody hates your guts?
No, I think it's really hard to deliver I hate your guts seriously and have it be like, so I feel that I hate your guts probably used to be max bad. Now I think you could say to somebody, I hate your guts, which means you hate them, but like not that bad. Like, so I think it's moved up the rung to a middle now, and you mean it as a middle insult too. I hate your gut. I hate this place's guts. Means
everybody has said it.
Sure.
Everybody said it. It's like that common.
You dislike it extremely, but not as bad as other things.
Yeah. It's bizarre, right?
Yep. Hate your guts.
You know what else is weird is if you're listening, like if you're hearing about a murder, if you're watching Dateline or whatever, and they talk about somebody being disemboweled and like their guts, that is the most horrific image that I could think of. That's way worse than getting shot in the head.
Yes.
Like an actual guts spilling out of a wound is the worst way to die. That sounds the most graphic.
Whole Japanese where you got to slit your belly and pull your guts out yourself.
Insane, right? Gosh, ouch. I know.
Yeah.
Okay, so hate your guts, barrel or not?
Barrel.
Barrel for using it to insult somebody.
Yep.
Okay.
As a medium insult, it's like a medium rare insult.
We need to bring it back too.
Yeah.
Because everybody has said it, but I don't think anybody says it anymore.
Like I feel that I hate the WSL's guts. It's exactly how much I hate them. I hate the WSL's guts.
Don't hate their heart. Don't hate their brain. Don't hate their soul.
Hate their guts.
Hate their guts.
Yeah.
Yep. I agree with that.
Perfect.
Yep. Good. We solved it.
Done.
Awesome. Well, hey, good show. Good to get back with you. And
so great.
Glad that you're rocking the tan.
Go take a nap. Heal up.
Dude, I will. Thank you. That's next on my list.
It goes away.
Good. I can't wait.
Yeah.
All right, Chaz. Until next week.
Yeah, barrel.